Hey folks, it is Chelsea Dade and I am here at Netroots Nation. This is actually my first time at Netroots, so it's exciting. And I wanted to kind of walk through some of the things that I gleaned from the conference. Firstly, the importance of mobilization, but also emphasizing agency among our bases. And so for health, that looks like to me making sure people are fully educated on different terminology that we all tend to use in the health field. So from social determinants of health to health equity, any terminology that might be fuzzy or unclear, making sure that we are properly educating those that we want to mobilize through that education, and in that way they feel that they have a greater sense of agency. Secondly, I was in a panel discussion in the morning that was titled Nerd Alert: How Research Can Combat Political Cynicism in Swing States. And in that conversation, this conversation was highly centered on cynicism and how do we overcome that in our communications. And one of the speakers brought up great examples regarding medical debt, as well as the prescription drug cost cap for insulin, which is around $35. And basically she was emphasizing that, we have to make sure that we are properly communicating about those wins in a way that is understandable and digestible for different audiences. And I could not, agree more. Any conversations around, there have been really positive wins in regards to those two issues of medical debt and then prescription costs. But do our bases know about those wins? I would probably argue no, and how they actually impact, marginalized people or people who are actually in need of those services. I don't think that the communication has been fully there. So I certainly gleaned a lot from that conversation. Another interesting point that was made actually occurred, I believe, on Friday or Thursday or a day before that I actually got here on Saturday. But it was around the word felon and kind of the stigmatization of that word and not utilizing it in our communications. And so while CFHJ does not necessarily focus too much on criminal justice, I don't really necessarily focus on it at all, but I lean on others who focus on it through their day-to-day work. But the idea of language that has been really promulgated and really echoed throughout the media and not allowing us to have it stick with us was a really important distinction. And so I wanted to flag that specifically as a communication-based organization. Another point that was made when I was in a conversation panel around messaging and building a multiracial democracy, there was a conversation or there was a perspective brought up around compassion fatigue, around drug use and overdose, and how now, or historically, I would say within the past maybe 10, 15 years, there was a lot of emphasis, and I think there still is, on overdose in predominantly white communities, impacting, I believe, both genders. But in terms of like the face of who that looks like, I think of, working class white male. And so, but when they were doing the polling, when this organization was doing polling, they said that there was now at this point more concern around public drug use, and as we all, I would think, know, there was a lot of criminalization. There still is a lot of criminalization around drug use publicly, and specifically for Black and BIPOC communities. And so, and another great quote that came from that panel was around, or the quote itself was that you can't arrest our way out of addiction and homelessness, which, really stuck with me. It's such a great point, and I think it's also why the public health advocates that I follow, they're all about public health approaches to both, drug use overdose as well as addiction and homelessness. So a lot of the conversations in this conference, I think, really echoed things that I am always on the listserv of and hearing in the public health community. I think it was just great to kind of hear them echoed, because I think a lot of times in the public health space, it seems like we are the only ones saying it, and so I think it's really encouraging to be in a space where there are so many other really dedicated folks that are also saying these same things. Let's see, there are other notes that I gleaned, but I will end, I think, with that one, and I will probably provide a little bit more of an update on CFHJ's social channels. So yes, I had an awesome time at Netroots Nation, first time, and I look forward to coming back.